Well, folks, and now it is time for a brand new segment here on the program where old Nostra Corny gets to crow a little bit, and we're calling it Corny Crows.
Should we keep playing this?
I think we've made the point.
All right.
Yeah. What are you doing out there in the chicken coop, giggling with the chickens and the crow and the cocks and the roosters? The rooster is a cock, right?
I believe so.
Would you stop that? It's enough already.
It's just there are all these compilations on YouTube's of roosters. I'm not sure why. I don't even know if it's the same person just filming random roosters. Whoa, this one just jumped like 6 feet. All right. Corny crows, you said.
Corny crows. Anyway, boy, the production values we got on this show, they put serious radio to shame. I'll tell you that. So a few weeks ago, people were up in arms and it made the news on the sites and people were just talking about it. A lot of people saying it. That they were going to bury Karrion Kross because he had debuted on Raw and had lost to Jeff Hardy. Just got beat. And remember, we looked at it as a boom. Just there you go. Well, thanks for coming, NXT champion. Currently holds the belt. You get beat by Jeff Hardy on Raw in a couple minutes. And I said Karrion Kross didn't have Scarlett with him, and everybody was up in arms about that. Oh, how can they break them up? How can they beat Karrion Kross? How can they break them up? And I postulated the theory. The only thing that I could think of in my mind that made that make any kind of sense to anyone would be that it sounded like something that an idea that either Vince McMahon would have or that someone would pitch to him that he would love, that Karrion Kross would get beat until somehow Scarlett was introduced into the picture and then she would rejuvenate him or elevate him, or all of a sudden it would change this downward trajectory that his career was on. I said, that sounds like either a Vince McMahon idea or something that he would like if somebody said it. That's basically where we left that first conversation, right?
Right.
Feel free to agree.
I agree.
Yes.
That was factual.
So you were entranced by my storytelling. So then he was booked in a rematch against Jeff Hardy the following week on Raw. And people are like, what the fuck? But they couldn't have that because, as we know from the loose-lipped concert promoter, Jeff Hardy got the COVID. So they put Karrion Kross in again, or instead of Jeff, they put him in against Keith Lee. And for whatever Keith Lee has done to somebody, they couldn't even, for the sake of the story, allow Keith Lee to win anything. So Karrion Kross beat Keith Lee and really buried him pretty deep. But now the news came out, the rumors and innuendos and suppositions and whatever has come out from the WWE insider circle that guess what the idea was all along that they may or may not still do now because Jeff Hardy got the COVID, was to beat Karrion Kross until Scarlett was introduced into the picture, and then I think the quote was she would somehow unleash the warrior inside Karrion Kross.
What does that mean?
Well, that means he'd start actually being a badass and winning instead of getting beat up by, a guy 50 pounds smaller that hadn't been pushed in 3 years on television.
That's unleashing the warrior.
That's unleashing the warrior.
All right. I thought it was more like getting blown on a raft at midnight or something.
Hey, that sounds like a country song gone wrong. But anyway, and then I had people on Twitter. I didn't have people, but I saw people on Twitter say, well, see, it's storytelling. We knew there was more to the story. Remember, we never said that was a good story. I just said that was the likely story. I think it's ridiculous in this day and age to debut a guy like Karrion Kross on the big show and beat him. I know they think that Scarlett's going to be a big star because look at her. But she's going to be just as big a star whether she's with a guy that wins from the start or she comes along and he starts winning. It's going to be the Sonny and Sable effect anyway. She's going to be a star. But he could possibly be a star also, unlike Mark Marrow or poor Chris Candido, if they gave people some confidence in him and instilled some credibility in him with people watching him that he is a big star and not just some schlub that gets beat by honest. And I've been a Hardy fan in the past. Poor Jeff hasn't mouthed off at me lately. But his day is past and he's smaller and he's an established veteran guy that still has value, but he shouldn't have been just beating Karrion Kross in a cold TV match. It's just ridiculous, regardless of what the story. So you had people on Twitter going, see, it's long-term storytelling. It may be. It's just a bad story. But I told you, Brian, a lot more people ought to start listening to me because I do the thinning around here, and generally these things somewhat come to pass. We'll talk more about the big one of the week later on, but it's not like I'm a goddamn mind reader. It's just that sounds like something that Vince McMahon would do or say or think. And in the case that we're going to talk about later on, I've been crowing about this for 20 years, that these idiots can't figure out. Don't piss your sponsors off by having them unknowingly sponsoring a goddamn sideshow exhibition. But anyway, so there may still be hope for Karrion Kross in the WWE universe, is what the uptake of this whole thing is maybe just because Jeff Hardy got the COVID, maybe they'll bring somebody else in and let them beat him too, and then they'll still bring Scarlett in and let her resurrect him. The whole thing's not gone to shit yet. It'll be gone to shit shortly.
Such a bad idea. Even the losing gimmick leading to a win, how many times has it been done by a heel versus a babyface?
Well, but also, he's not the right kind of guy. Yes, Barry Horowitz got attention with a losing streak. Everybody remembers that. And then all of a sudden he gets a win. Or in this case, if the addition of the lady at his side is supposed to rejuvenate him, then couldn't he be some kind of, for lack of a better term, kind of smart-ass chicken shit smarmy heel, to where now he's got the girl and she can interfere, she can pump him up or or tickle him under the chin. And then he somehow, gets a better record, but not a big badass looking guy like Karrion Kross. And he and Scarlett, besides being a real life couple, look so good together and they got their shit down together. Bring them in and let them do their thing. Don't monkey with it and make it so either complicated or overly dramatic. Anyway, he's still the NXT champion,
That's the crazy part. I forgot, until you just said that, I had forgotten all about the fact that while he's doing this losing gimmick, or started it, he was the NXT champion.
Well, yeah, on the same network. One night away. On Monday night, he's a schlub that gets beat by Jeff Hardy with no fanfare. And on Tuesday night, he's the champion of the organization that badass Samoa Joe wants to get a hold of for doing what he did to poor old William Regal. Jesus Christ. It's the same network.